Hello, John. How are you?
Hi, Raina. Great to see you again. How are you?
Always a pleasure meeting you because I think every time we talk, there's something new that you're doing, and I think we've known each other for a couple of years now as a candidate and a client, and every time there's some exciting things that you've been doing. So just a little bit about John, who's here with us today on our Sales Empowering series podcast. He's extremely passionate about the cyber and AI space, cybersecurity and AI space. He's currently the head of AI and cyber and information securities at Global Data. He's got a master's in the space. He runs three multiple businesses on the side. And I would have to call him one of the most creative sales professionals in today's evolving time. So I'm always amazed by how he runs that and does that and wears those multiple hats. He's probably an inspiration and probably a strong mentor to a lot of sales professionals out there wanting to do things differently and creatively. What I love is that he's found his niche and he's maximizing that, and he's so passionate about it. He's got years of leadership experience and he's got a wealth of knowledge. So welcome, John.
Thank you, Raina. Good to be here. Great to be a part of the podcast.
John, if you could tell us a little bit about, what you're doing at the moment, a little bit about, what's brought you here and what's keeping you doing what you're doing.
Sure. That's a great question, actually, because I never actually set out to do what I'm doing today. However, it grew out of a passion, out of a logical sequence of events from my history of my background in business. I commenced many years ago in the media and advertising industry and built a very successful media agency that I ran for many years, and an extension of that grew into being an early adopter of working with clients with social media. Mm-hmm. And I started a business in social media, and an extension from that became crisis management PR, when people were doing a lot of mistakes on social media and, being caught on camera doing the wrong things, or sitting in a hot tub at a KFC, or, whatever the case may be, and then trying to backpedal people out of bad press. That led to that company being sold and me moving into a more like taking a greater interest in the data and analytics about how that is kept on the web. So once it's on the web, it's on the web. And that led to an interest in cybersecurity. So I went back to university and got my grad cert in cybersecurity, and then my master in cybersecurity.
Wow.
To be able to protect people. Now, all through that journey, I was in sales to be able to afford to put myself through uni and pay for it all. And so with that became a successful business in social media. Mm-hmm. And then that led to setting up another business called Five Eyes Cyber, which works with small to medium enterprises, mum and dad businesses who are big on the target scale, right through to large enterprise companies that don't understand their own cybersecurity posture. And then I'm brought in to be able to give them some analysis and some positioning about where they sit with that. Mm-hmm. So that works through one of the companies, which is Five Eyes Cyber. And then I have another company which supplies a lot of the hardware and the software for that, which is called Quantum MSP. So that's a company that supplies the product for a managed services and be able to help people online without actually having to go to location. Mm-hmm. And then consequently, I've also had the DMG Social business running, which is a social media marketing company for small to medium enterprises up to enterprise that want to have a positioning with their social media at an element where it keeps them at a very vanilla level and nothing is too outlandish or outside of their remit. Mm-hmm. And then with that, a company that I worked for along the journey by the name of Global Data, I ran into one of the senior executives there, and he said, look, we've taken a new direction with our company, and across all of our market verticals, we'd love for you to be able to come back and head up our artificial intelligence, cyber and information security across Japan and Asia Pacific. And I said, well, I've just set up these businesses, and they said, you can do that as well. So here we are.
Awesome. Awesome. So tell us, John, I mean, obviously you've got a lot of knowledge, a wealth of knowledge in the whole AI cybersecurity niche. What do you think? I mean, in 2023, you've seen some evolving trends, right? You're there. You're passionate about the one thing, which is protecting businesses. What do you see as the biggest threat at the moment? What do you see as the trends that businesses need to be aware of?
I think first and foremost, Australia as a country is a long way behind the rest of the world as in our cybersecurity posture and architecture and infrastructure. We've been cruising along for some time thinking that we're okay on our own. However, the malicious hackers or the state-based actors can be sitting in a shed anywhere in the world and be able to hack into systems here in Australia. So we don't actually have the correct architecture and infrastructure, and companies need to get up to speed, and we need to educate everyone in business that they will be wholly responsible for not protecting the data that they hold on their clients, and that's everyone from a small mum and dad business right through to your doctor, through to your pharmacist, through to your real estate agent, through to whomever takes your details. And where the big threat lies with that is with what we call APIs, which is a way to be able to connect your phone to a machine or to a computer, or your key to your car, or your remote blinds, or your Alexa, or your Siri, whatever those devices are, have gaping holes in them for people to be able to access people's data and information. And what's happened is with artificial intelligence, people are writing scripts with artificial intelligence to be able to sit there and just repeatedly attack, which gives a denial of service of systems when they just bombard people's websites or platforms so that they crash. So not a day goes by where I don't wake up to say what happened overnight, and I wake up early and scan the internet and find out all the stories of who's been attacked and what's happened, and there's never a dull moment with that. So really, whether or not it's in sales or if it's in any part of just running a business, it's increasingly a fast-moving world where you need to have that infrastructure.
Okay. And what do you think are the best, I mean, there's obviously different cybersecurity platforms and tools available out there. Is there one or two that are in particular widely known that you feel most businesses should implement or have? I mean, is there any that you think, you're quite, you worked with or you're familiar with that you'd recommend?
Absolutely. And being I'm actually a specialist in technical analysis in cyber, so it's going right down to the tin tacks of where people break in. And I looked at and considered all of the platforms that are out there, and there are many platforms that are out there to be able to work with. But I've taken the position to partner with an Australian-based cybersecurity vendor known as Red Piranha, and they supply, basically a box with a firewall, and where all the data runs through it, and they're constantly scanning it much faster than you or I would be able to do, to be able to see whether or not you're under any mission-critical attack. And then there's endpoint detection systems, such as one that I've favoured for a long time, which I've had a lot of trust in, known as ESET, ESCT, and that actually works with endpoint detection right down to your handset, to your family computers, and really the greatest threat is human error, where people will click on things where it comes into their inbox, thinking, oh well, that looks like something from the NAB, or that looks like something from the government, or that looks like something from my doctor or their car insurance company, and really it is a phishing technique to be able to get people's details and information. So I go with what I believe is some of the strongest and most dependable, and that is I work with Red Piranha and ESET through my cybersecurity company, and I've partnered with Microsoft 365 for my quantum MSP business to supply the hardware and software to be able to make sure that people are as secure as possible, because really no one can beat Microsoft on a global scale. With how they can protect people in business. I'm sure there's Apple and there's different operating systems, but the one that has the greatest reach is Microsoft, and they're also the ones investing the most in. They've invested $14 billion, Australian billion dollars, into OpenAI, which are the people that bring us ChatGPT.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I think that's some insight there. I mean, is there something that, I mean, given the fact that our speciality as recruiters is predominantly working with sales professionals and sales leaders, right? So a lot of, I mean, our target audience today would be sales professionals. Is there something that they need to be aware of in their day-to-day when it comes to cybersecurity?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what's that?
And I'm, make no mistake, I'm still in sales. Everybody's selling something every day somewhere, and I'm working with clients every day to help protect them, sell their wares the best way possible. And so when we're picking up the phone and contacting a client directly coldly, or whether or not we're sending an email, or whether or not we're contacting them on LinkedIn, or whether or not we're reaching out via email or SMS services, at all times, there's never been a better time to have a strong profile and be in control of your profile, rather than there being a twin or a fake or a deep fake, because people can masquerade around as yourself or myself and create deep fakes that they can send out information which can be a disinformation or an information warfare, and damage your brand. So it's very important to be foot forward, and I believe, and I'll say it again, I'm in sales every day, I'm selling every day, and I wish to control my brand and presence in the market, and that is by making sure that I'm searching for any deep fakes myself, and also making sure that I'm controlling the narrative of what goes into the market.
Perfect. That's awesome. That's some really great advice there, John. I think you've covered a lot about, you know, evolving trends. You've shared a lot about cybersecurity and what's happening in terms of and some advice around the top two vendors that you work with in your business. I'm also very inspired by the fact that you wear multiple hats. I think to share what I think would be really useful would be to share how you do it, right? I mean, I know you don't have to give us your formula, but you're probably one of the most creative sales professionals to be able to use your, I mean, you're credible enough for to have a company that you used to work with now approach you to run their cybersecurity and for them, and then also give you that autonomy and opportunity to keep running your own business. How did you do that? Because not many sales professionals who, you know, want an exit, but then want to keep using their skill set and finding their passion, they aren't able to hack it, right? So you've done something right. And what is your advice that you'd like to share with other sales professionals wanting to lead that more creative, you know, / entrepreneurial, which is pretty much what today's day and age should be.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, let's be honest, sales in itself can be an awesome role. You make a lot of money. You have to have a lot of energy. You need to be extremely motivated and self-motivated. You need to be very goals focused. But at the same time, it can get monotonous, and having a bit of variety and having multiple streams of income created makes you that creative sales professional where you can own your destiny, right? So I think you've done that very, very wisely, and you've done that the right way. But also you've gone out and built your, you've gone out, you know, studied what you're passionate about. You've gone and upskilled, and now you're putting all of that into place. So, I mean, it'd be nice for you to share some advice around how you did that, and what and any advice you can share around how you manage that and how you've gotten to where you are, because I think it's quite inspiring.
You know, I actually haven't really stopped and thought about that other than whilst you were just saying that, Raina. And one really important element is, I believe a good salesperson just has to be passionate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, give me someone who's passionate and I can teach them how to do the hard work.
Agreed.
And that goes back to a long way when I was a boy at school, and I went to a school where they had rowing, and I'd never rowed before. And they said, you look like a big beefy bloke, and you're passionate about sport. And I was, and I am still today. And they said, well, we'll teach you how to row. Anyway, they taught me how to row, and we went on and rowed and won all our school championships, and then we won the Australian championships, and then I was picked to row in the under-23 squad for Australia. I knew nothing about rowing, but what I did is I applied myself. And the thing is, you know, during a lot of people say a lot of bad things happened during COVID. The one thing it did for me, it put me in like an incubation period of where I thought, how do I see my way through to the future during COVID? And which is when I picked up the tools to study and kept working with data and analytics, and then applied that to being able to educate myself, and then keep selling and think of, which is what was spawned from the COVID time, the pandemic time, where people realized they needed to have multiple streams of income. And so the gig economy grew. And, you know, this gig economy, you know, people think it's just sort of been around a while. It's been around quite some time, and people do have different revenue streams. And with the cost of living today and what it takes to be able to live and what you're paying in taxes, you know, gone are the days of where loyalty has stood true to your employer, unless the loyalty is shown back towards you. And that's one thing I've always stood against. I've always been a loyal employee. And during the COVID time, it made me realize, well, you need different revenue streams. You need to be able to look after yourself. You need to be able to get good sleep. You know, I adopted new technologies. I wear what they call an Aura ring now. And an Aura ring measures, you know, how much oxygen's in your blood, how much sleep you're getting, how much activity you're doing, when to stand, when to sit, what you're doing with your happiness and your health. And what that's done, that's taken me from where I used to be the 4.5 hours a night sleep guy to 8 to 9 hours
That's
of
so
sleep
important, right?
per,
Sleep golden.
and my focus is so laser-like that I've got back the energy I had of a 20-year-old.
Amazing.
And it's got me focused and saying, right, let's make this successful, let's make that successful, let's make this successful, and drive them all together. And
I'm going to write that down, Aura ring, because I've got the Apple Watch, which
yeah,
I track everything. What's this Aura ring? I'm excited. I always learn something new from you. Well, there you go, guys. You're promoting the Aura ring. You might as well get some affiliate
marketing with them.
revenue
Yeah,
marketing
sure.
done for Aura there. We'll link it in and tag you.
Look, I cannot tell you how much happier as a person I am as a consequence of this ring.
Oh, wow.
Getting my sleep habits in order. And you know, it works on global analytics. It's a data and analytics tool. It's another wearable Internet of Thing that I really prescribe to, and it has changed what people have been probably lecturing to me for years that I should do. But I've actually put it into action, and you know, here we are, we're in May, the 11th of May 2023, and I've never been fitter, I've never been more active, I've never slept as well, my relationships are better, my finances are better, my businesses are better, all from having there's no brain fade, there's no reaching for sugar during the day.
Yeah, that's my issues.
And you know, in a former life, I was a fitness instructor, and gee, I wish this had been around when I was into that sort of stuff, because it's brilliant. And, you know, I now walk, you know, 20 to 30,000 steps a day, not 10,000. So it's great.
Wow, you do 20 to 30,000 steps. Where do you walk for that?
Any opportunity. So it tells me, you know, like I should have jumped up and gone for a walk during this this Zoom meeting. But I do. I make up an excuse, and what I do is I get on the phone and I call someone, or I listen to a podcast.
Yeah,
So I'm
same.
constantly learning, constantly using the tools around us to be a better and more productive person. I don't play any games on any of the tools or any of the internet connected products that we have in our life, but I'm very big at driving artificial intelligence and what we can do with cyber. And there's one area where the world hasn't caught on to yet, and that is the metaverse. And the metaverse, where all of the activities that we know and work with today will be duplicated, or they are duplicated already. And I spend a lot of time in there where I can be sitting in a coffee shop, Raina, and have my complete desk setup that I've got here on my headset, and be typing on a digital or my real keyboard. So what you can do is you can set up your real keyboard, and I'll be sitting there in the virtual world, in the metaverse, and people can sit in the same coffee shop, and you say hello to one another, and they're real people doing the real things, but in the metaverse, but they're working on their own activity. This is a concept that you just need to sort of transform yourself. It's a real paradigm shift. And I know global businesses are looking to set up platforms in this space.
Wow. My husband's massively into the metaverse and all
Lovely.
of that space. So he's massively, vested in how that's going to change the world. So I don't know much about it, to be honest, but yeah, it's definitely, our kids are going to be doing things very differently.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. And I think, the moment ChatGPT came out, I said, oh God, there you go. That's the doom for us, because they're gonna not want to go out and research and read, and how they're gonna, and now everything's at the tip of they've got everything, get access to everything through ChatGPT. And Jesus, that's the doom.
Well, whereas I take the opposite view, I'm so excited about it, and so want to harness the powers and elements of it all to be able to drive success. And what does success look like for me? And that means balance in my life. This Aura Ring has brought that balance back into scope about, work time, rest time, family time, so on and so forth. And success can be many things to many different people. But to me, utilizing the tools to be more productive is a very, very positive thing. And so that's what I'm using them for. And so far, so good. And, I look forward to being able to do that for the next 20 plus years.
Awesome. Well, look, John, I think you've covered a lot. I mean, is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners today? I mean, you've spoken a lot about your passion. You've spoken a lot about what you're doing at the moment. You've spoken a lot about health and wellness. You've spoken about your 3 businesses that you run, and we will mention all of them and the links to them. So and obviously, guys, if you think you'd like to connect with John, I'm sure he'd
absolutely
kind of guide you, and if you can learn more about how he's done what he's done. But I mean, what else would you like to share? I mean, with regards to cyber AI.
I think one thing, one thing I would like to leave us with is I've learned to give away everything I know for free to people, because it comes back in spades when people are prepared to pay for it. And that is, there's no point me getting excited about the information I learn without being able to utilize it and share it with people that are actually interested in it. For people that are not interested in it, and you can soon see when that is, when their shutters come down in their eyes and they're like, oh, that's too above my head. I can't deal with that. Well, I don't take that position. I will quite happily, if anyone would like to reach out on LinkedIn, connect with me, follow me, or tap my bell to, just see when I'm about to post things. We are in the wild, wild west of artificial intelligence. We are in the wild, wild west of what's going to happen with cybersecurity. Cybersecurity will be at $10 trillion, $10.5 trillion loss by 2025, and we're halfway through 2023, Raina. We talk about shrinkage and what people steal from Coles and Woolworths, being, millions of dollars. Well, that's nothing compared to what happens in the cybersecurity space. It's now the third largest economy in the world, and it's only growing. So I would implore people that would like to take an interest in sales and in cyber and in artificial intelligence to connect with me on LinkedIn, and be more than happy to answer questions, help out, work with interns, work with professionals, or be able to give people suggestions on security architecture. I would say look up the government NIST, NIST, for how to best protect yourself without paying for it, and also familiarise yourself with the Australian Cybersecurity Centre's Essential 8, which are base level cybersecurity postures that companies can take before they look to going to a third-party vendor. If we had third-party vendors working with companies such as Optus and Medibank, it would have avoided a lot of fallout. And unfortunately, I was caught up in both of those events, and that has required me to go and change passwords all over the place, change credit cards, change phone numbers, change contact, etc. So there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to be a part of it, but I would like to be able to say, keep learning, keep selling, and please, if you feel like making contact, that'd be great.
Thank you, John. Really, really appreciate you being on here with us today.
Thanks very much, Rona.